Wow. Take a moment here. Deep breath. This is, okay. Good evening, everyone. So nice to see so many familiar faces here, so many special people in my life and in this community. First, let me say how deeply honored and humbled I am to accept the Vision of Peace Award tonight. To be recognized by an organization as vital and life-changing as Safe Berks is truly a privilege. Safe Berks stands as a beacon of hope and a lifeline for so many women and children, and yes, even men, facing unimaginable circumstances. I want to thank you for the work you do, for the lives you save, and for the courage you inspire every day. And to my children, Bailey, Maddie, and Julian, my dear friends and colleagues, Irina, Deborah, Jim, Gina, Dave, Molly, I cannot express how much your words meant to me and how grateful I am for your presence in my life. Thank you. Safe Berks is the safe place that so many women and children need when the rest of the world feels unsafe. And Safe Berks is essential because the reality is sobering. You'll hear some more statistics tonight, but they bear repeating. 1 in 3 women and 1 in 4 men in the United States will experience physical violence by an intimate partner in their lifetime. Think about that. If you look around the room and let that sink in, we have over 500 people in attendance. More than 100 of us have been or will be victims. For those of you who have experienced this type of violation, I'm sorry for what you've endured at the hands of someone you loved and trusted. On average, nearly 20 people per minute are physically abused by an intimate partner in the United States. That's more than 10 million women and men every year. And even more tragically, domestic violence is often hidden. It thrives in silence and shame, leaving victims isolated and afraid. Tonight, I want to talk about something personal that I've never shared publicly before and isn't easy to do so. I stand here not only as a supporter of Safe Berks, but also as someone who has experienced domestic abuse firsthand. For a long time, I thought this wasn't something that could happen to me, but the truth is, domestic violence doesn't discriminate. It doesn't care about your education. It doesn't care about your career, your financial status, your personality, or how much support you have in your life. For me, it came to a breaking point where I had to go to a courthouse and file for a protection from abuse order, a PFA. I kept messing up that acronym with PDA. Very different. That's how little I knew. It's hard to accurately describe how I felt that day. I was scared and in shock that this was my reality. I've always thought of myself as a strong person. I can handle a lot. I get things done. But I didn't feel strong at that time, and I couldn't handle that on my own. And even though I have an incredible support system, as you saw firsthand from my amazing, loving children and friends, I went alone to the courthouse that day. Looking back, I realized I didn't ask anyone to come with me or even tell anyone I was going because I was ashamed. I couldn't believe that I had allowed someone I loved and trusted to degrade me, betray me, and erode my own sense of self-worth and dignity so severely. I know now that victims of domestic abuse often feel an overwhelming sense of shame. Shame for what they're going through, shame for admitting it, shame for needing help. It doesn't make sense, but domestic violence is such a personal crime, one in which the partner you've entrusted more than anyone else and love deeply violates you to your core. In fact, when I was deciding what to do with that relationship, I felt stuck until my mother asked me, "What advice would you give to Maddie if she was in that situation?" It was hard to see my relationship for what it was until I removed myself and pictured my beautiful daughter in the same place that what I needed to do became crystal clear. And that's exactly why it's so important all of you are here, standing together to demonstrate as a community that we will not stand for domestic violence, and that those who have suffered should feel our support rather than their own shame. So, to bring this full circle, on that day, walking into the courtroom, right next door, in fact, I was shaky, my heart was pounding, and tears were brimming in my eyes as I blinked to hold them back. I prayed I wouldn't see anyone I knew, as I was in disbelief that my life had come to this. I felt terrified, insecure, even worse, I felt inadequate, weak, and incredibly alone. But something happened when I walked out of that courtroom. A woman approached me, someone I didn't know. She asked, "Andrea, are you okay? Do you have a safe place to go? Do you want to talk to anyone? Do you need help?" She was a representative from Safe Berks. In that moment, her presence was a lifeline for me. I was fortunate that I didn't need the services of Safe Berks at that time, but knowing they were there, knowing someone cared and was ready to help, someone that didn't look down on me or judge me, and instead wanted to help me and had empathy and understood what I was going through, was an incredible comfort, and it gave me the strength that I needed at that time. And I can only imagine how life-saving that moment would have been for someone without the resources or the support or the stability that I was fortunate to have. That's why your presence here tonight means so much. Domestic violence doesn't just happen to someone else. It could happen to your sister, it could happen to your friend, your neighbor, your daughter, your coworker, the person sitting in the chair next to you tonight. It could happen to you. And when it does, we need to be ready, not just with the resources Safe Berks provides, which are essential, but with compassion, understanding, empathy, and a commitment to remove the stigma that so often keeps victims from abuse, from seeking help or sharing their experience with others, to let them know that they are not alone. So I stand here tonight not just as a survivor, but as someone who believes deeply in the power of community and the very, very special community we have here in Berks County. Together, we can make a difference. We can listen without judgment. We can offer support without hesitation. We can educate to detect signals of unhealthy relationships early, and we can stand together to prevent domestic violence before it happens. Let tonight be a reminder that we're all part of the solution. By supporting organizations like Safe Berks, by speaking out, even when it's not easy to do so, like you'll hear from the beautiful Robin Gibbons tonight, and by standing with survivors, we can create a world where no one feels alone, where no one feels ashamed, and where everyone has a safe place to turn. Thank you, Safe Berks, for everything you do. Thank you, Beth, Mindy, and the entire Safe Berks staff. I don't have time to mention everyone, as well as the incredible Carolyn Holleran and the Safe Berks Board of Directors and Heather. Your service every day makes Berks County a safer and more comforting place. You save lives. Thank you for our generous sponsors, our donors, our Peace Trust members, who enable Safe Berks to fulfill their critical mission. And thank you for this wonderful honor that truly has a deep meaning to me. Thank you to my dear friends, my colleagues, and family for always being here for me. And thank you to everyone in the room tonight for being here. Your presence sends a powerful message that we believe in a world without violence and that we're willing to fight for it together. Thank you.